Hi, I'm Josh Keegan, and welcome to the Space Down Under live. I managed to mess that up entirely. Oh, that was a lot of fun. All right, well, at least everyone knows this is live, and this is there's nothing between me and you, and it's all happening absolutely as we speak. Oh, except that some of this stuff I'll read and other stuff I won't. So let me just check and make sure I'm all on and all live. All right. So just to let you guys know, as once again, there is a live chat window where at the end of this, there will be a Q&A session where you actually get to ask as many questions as you like. So that will be at the end. Just to let you guys know, in this live stream, I'll be speaking with Jackie Carpenter, the founder of One Giant Leap Australia. One Giant Leap Australia creates unique immersive learning experiences for students and educators, helping develop and enhance crucial skills in STEM, including problem solving, critical analysis, creative thinking. These skills are required in order for students to thrive in the working environment, both now and well into the future. One Giant Leap has forged strong working relationships and partnerships with a range of educational institutions and providers, local, state and national governments and agencies, STEM-based companies, aeronautical and astronomical researchers, and scientists and other community-based organizations. It's time to grab a cup of coffee, or at least your favorite beverage, and let's get started. All right, welcome, Jackie. Just give me a sec. Whoa, there we go. All right. It's all live. It's all fun. I almost got that wrong too.
Saturday night. What can I say?
Oh, it is. It's Saturday night, the 4th of September here in Australia at 8 p.m., 10 a.m. UTC. So welcome, Jackie. Thanks very much for joining me live to chat about Australia taking one giant leap. It's great to have you here, and thanks very much for putting aside the time. Again, guys, just as a reminder, there will be a Q&A towards the end of this live stream where you can ask your questions. As you can see now, the chat window has disappeared completely, and we won't be able to see it until the end. So feel free to chat amongst yourselves and ask as many Q&As as you like of each other, but also get ready for those Q&As that we'll be answering towards the end. All right. So, Jackie, can I ask a quick question? So, how did you manage to come up with One Giant Leap? Where did it all start from? How did it all begin?
I've got to tell you, what's really funny was I've always wanted to call a company One Giant Leap, right?
Yep.
So I go to my accountant and he goes, no one's ever going to understand the name of that company. So he made me open a company in a totally random other name, and I never even traded in that name. I hated it, and I shut the company down. So I just figured One Giant Leap, why not? Forget the small step stuff. If we're going to do it, let's just really go for it. So, One Giant Leap was just what I've always ever wanted to call it. So, yeah, good fun stuff.
Oh, yeah, it sounds like the next steps in evolution of, what needs to happen next, especially for Australia in this current environment at the moment where we need to actually take our next one giant leap. Sorry, I'm just going to say that a lot because I love the name. Anyway, all right. So what we're going to do is we're going to start here with some Wattle seeds to the International Space Station. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chat a little bit about what you did there, and I'm going to give a bit of a background for our international viewers. And I'm going to tell you all about what golden wattle actually is. So golden wattle is actually native to southeastern Australia. It grows as a small tree between 3 and 8 meters tall. It's around about 10 or 30 feet, with golden orb flowers which appear on the trees in late winter and flowers until the end of spring. So I'll just have a look at that. Sorry, I'm controlling several things at once, as everyone knows. So One Giant Leap Foundation sent a golden wattle seed to the International Space Station with the help of JAXA, which is the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency. The seeds were in space for around about 7 months, and then in the end it will be distributed to more than 300 locations located around our nation. So Jackie, how did this program come about? How did JAXA become involved? And how did you get your hands on? And how do I get some hands on some seeds? I know it's three questions at once.
I had my hands on the seeds.
Oh wow!
So sorry. These are the space wattle seeds.
Yeah.
So how did it come about? We were doing the Kibo Robot Programming Challenge with JAXA. We're the national coordinators for Australia, and we're in a teleconference, and JAXA said, Australia, do you want to send seeds to space? And I just said yes before anyone could say no. And then they said, well, what seeds? Thinking that I'd already knew about all these things and everything. And I said, oh, I'll get back to you on that. And I hung up from the teleconference and went, I have no idea, because it's really not my forte. I'm not a gardener of the galaxy or anything like that. So,
Sorry, gardener of the galaxy. I love it.
Yeah, I'm not that, right? So, and I mean, my cooking skills are really bad. I have a Facebook page, 50 Shades of Charcoal. So my cooking and gardening skills are pretty much on par. So I went, what have I got myself into? And I don't care. I'm just going to do it. So then spoke to my husband, was there, and I said to him, it has to be the Wattle. It can't be anything else. It has to be something truly iconic. I didn't want to do something that's short-lived.
Yeah.
I want something that people could actually put in the ground and grow. And I thought about the moon tree seeds and things like that, and I thought, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do the golden Wattle. But little did I know, Greg Chamitoff, former NASA astronaut, who's the patron of our company, he took golden Wattle, flannel flower, Wallamai pine, and Waratah seeds to the space station in 2008. And I didn't know. So I said to Greg, oh, blah, 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 blah. And he went, oh, I took Wattle seed. Oh, no. So then we went on the hunt to try and find Greg's trees, but they're not around, so we couldn't find them. Yep. So I'm determined to know where all of these space Wattle trees are going to be. And the funny thing is, I didn't have a name for the project. And about 3 o'clock in the morning one day, I woke up and went, oh, that's it. We'll call it What'll Happen to the Wattle. And there you go. And that's how it all started. Yeah.
Oh,
so
nice.
Lots of fun. Really brilliant opportunity. So grateful to the Australian Space Agency and all the government departments involved and JAXA. I'm really, truly grateful on behalf of the Australian public. It's just an amazing opportunity. So, yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far.
So, and that's the thing is, how does someone now that I'll just give some statistics first before I get into the next question. So, the golden Wattle seeds were launched on a SpaceX Commercial Resupply Mission, or CRS mission, on December the 6th, 2020, and returned on SpaceX CRS mission on the 10th of July, 2021, completing over 7 months in space. So now that it's been to space and back and looped the planet for 7 months, how do you actually get your hands on some Wattle seeds? What happens now?
Well, we put it out there to the schools and to the community and said who would like to find out what's going to happen to the Wattle. So we opened that up last year, and we said, okay, 150 schools, because we had no idea how many seeds would go up. This is a 10-gram bag.
Yep.
So we sent to JAXA 10-gram bags.
Oh, okay.
But other countries were also involved. So that image that you've got up, see how our seeds are at the back?
Yeah.
Well, there's other countries' seeds in that clip-lock bag. So what happened was they went, right, Australia, 10 grams. New Zealand, 10 grams, Malaysia, 10 grams. So they put, and then they go again and they go, right, Australia, 20 grams, and so on. So it was all very fair about how much was sent up. And so we didn't really know how many seeds we had up there until the payload was put together and off it went to America. So I guessed 150 as being a really easily attained target, because we, as a company or as a person even, I never make a promise to someone, or especially a student, and then go, oh, sorry about that. Yeah. Could you imagine the devastation? Yeah. So we're not like that. So I just thought about 150. And so we put out there that they should apply, send 200 words as to why we should choose them, and make a short video. So we had some hilarious videos come in, like zombie teachers from Australia. The teachers at Taminmin in the Northern Territory there, one was about how they had fed the kids fruit from the tree, a space tree, and all the kids got really, really smart. And then the teachers were scared they wouldn't have a job because the kids were too smart. So then the teachers had to set about making the kids back to normal again, and they gave them their mobile phones and they went back to normal. So there's all these different funny and crying. I've cried my way through videos. So the 150, and then when we realised how many, we just quietly opened it back up again. So, and this morning I was on ABC News, morning news. So we've just had 80 emails come through for more people wanting to grow the space wattle, and a really amazing email from a lady who's got terminal cancer who wants to grow the space wattle for her sons to remember her by. So that was an amazing email to receive. So I was asked about what do I expect to get from out of this. Well, that's what I expect. Amazing stories, great science, community engagement, and long-term, which is why I didn't want to do just a short-term experiment. So if people go to seedsinspace.com.au, it's quite simple to find what will happen to the wattle. It's like bright yellow and sitting there, and it says how to apply. You can apply, and we should have enough seeds for a while. So, see how we go. And there's been interest in California from a planetarium in California. So it's not, and so I'm thinking, if there's people out there who are permitted by their law to grow some stuff like this, well, reach out and let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. But all right. And everybody who's having a look, and wow, there's a mission patch as well.
There's a mission patch.
Oh, yes. That's awesome. I want one.
Yeah, and it's really not like the people who did this. It's just awesome, and the wattle looks like it glows. Yeah. So we have mission patches for it and things like that. Awesome. And so you can imagine the students. It's like, I think there's around 180,000 students enrolled in the schools that are doing this. And so I remember I was excited when I went to Canberra on a 3-day excursion. That was my big deal trip in Year 6 for those people who are from another country. That's our capital city. Yep. And so that was the big deal, the big exciting thing. And I think it's fantastic for the kids to be able to pick something up and go, this has been to space and I'm holding it and I want a selfie with it and all these different things before we plant it. And then when they're older and they're talking to their children or their grandchildren, they can say, we actually grew something from space. And I think it's that's really, really important.
That is really, really important. Just a quick side question as well that I just thought of while you were talking. How are they going to be identified when they're planted in schools? Are they going to come up on a location map, or once they're old enough, are plaques going to be put down? How are schools planning on treating them?
All of the above.
Right.
Because with Greg, the thing, knowing Greg had planted some wattle trees somewhere, I'm not going to say where, but somewhere, quite identifiable, and we went there and it had been ploughed down and a building put up. So I really, truly want to make sure we know where every single space wattle tree is, because in America they know where the moon trees were and stuff.
Exactly.
So we're going to have a Google map of that, so people can actually go, oh, I'm going to go to this place, this place, this place, and see the space wattle trees. Yeah. But more than that, I'm encouraging schools to get a local artist in and maybe doing a space sculpture in their wattle grove, or there's yarning circles being created. There's bush tucker trails. One school, their community is now big enough for them to have a town hall, so they're going to plant it in their town hall and in their garden of the town hall. And I've been asked today, the Consul General of Japan in Melbourne would like to plant some in their grounds. So, and there's also some being grown in Tokyo, the Australian Embassy. So we need to know where they are for a whole lot of different reasons. But more than that, it's so people can go to a map and go, those space wattles I heard about, I wonder how they're going.
Yeah, that's where they are. Yeah,
it's going to take
exactly.
a number of years. It's not like Jack and the Beanstalk where you throw the seed in and if it does, well, what does do to growing plants? Like
that'll be a first. There's something to say about cosmic radiation in that case, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah. I've also had that question about how do I know that something bad's not going to happen? And I was talking to someone about if the Wattle was planted on the moon and it went berserk, we'd have two bright yellow things in the sky and, all of that kind of stuff.
Oh,
so,
awesome.
Rest assured, everyone, I do not believe aliens will grow from these seeds. But if they do,
it'll be Australian first. That's the important part.
Well, yeah, look, leading the world in lots of stuff. Wattle research is, not really on that agenda, but it will be soon. So I just think this is the biggest space science experiment done in schools in this country. And lots of excitement,
Yeah, and that's the thing is, you're saying that even if the people were to ask, they can be sent overseas. There's no restrictions for that.
It just depends on the country.
Okay.
You have to check with the authorities. You can't just do it. The whole ethics is really, really critical.
Yeah,
doing this with biosecurity, just us trying to do this in country in the middle of an epidemic of people being distracted, of having that really the borders being super important around a whole lot of stuff with international travel. And then here's this little voice going, I've got these wattles, see? Is
that your little voice?
Yeah, it's like the Horton Hears a Who, hello, universe. And but I'm really, really adamant that all of that stuff has to be above board. We have all the paperwork. Everything's been done properly. In fact, I laughed when they sent them back. They sent them back from Tokyo in a diplomatic bag because we were really scared we were going to lose them in the mail because you're not talking about kilos and stuff. And the funny thing is they came back in an esky, which was so Australian. They could have come back in a little box, but no, polystyrene esky with little peanut things holding it in a little bed. So it was all, hilarious.
Yeah, so if anybody who's watching overseas, yes, an esky is, the Kiwis call it a chili bin. We call it an esky. It's basically one of those bins that you put things in that will remain cold and they're transportable. It's similar to what they transport the human heart in for transplants and things like that. That's a really weird analogy, Josh. Oh. Anyway, and at that point, I think we'll move on. Yep, sorry.
Exactly. But if people want to see any of these pictures, we have a gallery of pictures on the Seeds in Space website. Cool. You just click on the gallery and you'll find the picture that you've got up there and a whole pile of others. And you will see the esky. So if you don't know what it is, head over there and have a look.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
All right. Yep. So, I'm just going to move on to the next one, which is we're going to talk more about the Kibo robotic challenge or programming challenge. My apologies. I think I don't know if I've said this right or not. So the Kibo robotic programming. What?
Kibo Robot Programming Challenge.
Kibo, right. Programming Challenge is an educational program in which students solve various problems by programming free-flying robots. The Astro Bee and the Int Ball in the International Space Station. So these robots are actually sitting on the International Space Station and they're doing that now. Working and interacting with other participants from around the world, the Kibo RPC, that's what it's called, is designed to inspire students to learn cutting-edge programming methodologies and hone their skills in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics throughout this program.
Yes.
Just a little bit more. So the Kibo RPC competition period was run from the 22nd of June to the 16th of July, 2021, and so it's only just closed. So this is one of those unique things. It's like you're doing things in space already. How did Kibo RPC come about? And where is it up to now? And can you give me some examples of the types of challenges that have been conducted? Just as an example, so how does it come about? Let's start there.
Okay, so it came about. JAXA put out to the Kibo. It's called Kibo ABC, which is everything to do with the Kibo module, right? All the experiment and stuff. So Kibo RPC Robot Programming Challenge. The Astro Bee is up there, and the Int Ball is actually a 3D printed camera that's JAXA invented. It's so cute. I really want one. I don't even have a 3D. You look at it, it looks like it's straight out of Star Wars.
I
It's
know. It's
the most
awesome.
awesome, cute thing ever. And it was like, it's just amazing. It's like, well, I want one. So anyway, so they just said, we're going to do this thing. Are you interested? Which is how One Giant Leap got involved. And the Australian Space Agency asked us, did we want to do this? So we said yes. And last year was the first year. And Bob, my husband, who is sitting, who's just here. Bob.
Okay, Bob. I'm wondering when you come on camera.
Australia's leading expert in the Kibo RPC. And so last year we had 3 teams, I think, eventually come through, and a team from Wangaratta represented Australia and operated their programming went up onto the space station, and it was a 5-hour live link up. Wow. With Chris Cassidy. So, you know, they go into loss and all of that stuff, but then in between bits, they were all having a big chat with him and everything. It was awesome. And so this year, you talk about that it's finished. It hasn't really finished. Yeah. We've selected the team, which is Dream Rover. And you don't have this magazine.
No, I don't. What is that?
I would suggest that you grab a hold of one, Australian Powered Today, because it happens to have our Kibo RPC article in it, right? Yep. And then the page after that is like the one about spacesuits, Josh.
Nice.
You know,
spacesuits. Yeah, I've got the team on screen. So
yeah, it's got the evolution of spacesuits in it. Right? It's a whole magazine on it, and so to the stars. Yeah. Brilliant. Anyway, so the Kibo team, if you have a look, the girl standing there hiding behind the man, she's 11, and she goes to Tarman Public School. So these kids are an outside of school group. So every single one of them comes from a different school. So you can imagine the schools are all going out. Like, I contacted the schools and said, your student has just, their team has just won to represent Australia on the space station, and they're going, we don't know anything about it. They can imagine, imagine the school going like, what? So, so we sent them a press release and some photos. So the amazing thing is that they've never done this before. They battled it out. There was 17 teams this year.
Wow.
And from Australia, and they won the right to represent us. Yeah. And there's 9 countries involved, and these guys beat 2 other countries.
Oh, wow.
Right? But the hilarious thing is they're the youngest. Everyone else is a university student.
Ouch. I'm sorry. I used to work at a university at one point. Yeah, there'd be a lot of people who would be actively insulted.
Yeah, but see what I mean? And imagine and they are all serious. Like, they know what they're doing. Yep. They have to prove it. So it's not a matter of someone doing it for them. Is it, Bob? They got to do it all. So Bob runs training every Friday night with we have a programmer who we come in, and he and we run programming lessons and stuff. So it's all virtual, yep. And it's all done virtually. So then very soon, I don't know if we're allowed to release the date, but let's just say within the next 2 weeks, right, we'll have a live link up with the space station for the teams to battle it out to see what country just comes out on top. Wow. And they have to. The problem is there's an air leak on the space station, and they have to find the leak and use the laser on Astro B to point at it to fix the leak. And then they have to tell the astronauts it's okay to come back now and come back from their emergency positions where they were when the air leaked. So you can imagine we're all concerned that people will think it's real.
Yeah, exactly, because that actually matches what happened with the Soyuz when it docked. Oh, my God.
So the Aussies can fix it, send them up
there. Yeah, exactly. Just send a couple of Aussie naughts up there. It's all good. You know, we'll get it all fixed.
Yeah, but there's something very, very important here, which is getting lost in all of the information, and it's great, this team and all the rest of it. But what are they really programming?
Yeah.
They're programming a robot to move around inside the space station. But what this really is, this is using visual navigation with cameras. Because if you, and anybody here on Earth understands, we can look at our phones and understand where we are because we've got GPS and all the rest of it. But when you get outside Earth, you don't have that luxury.
Exactly.
So they're coming up with new ways, which is using cameras to work out to turn it left, right, up, down. So as much as this is a programming of a robot, it's actually a major way of navigating in space.
Yeah, because there's no gravity and there's no up and down in space. There's just at all. It's just
there's no reference.
Yeah, there's no reference point. Correct. So just some statistics for people who are watching. There's a GitHub repository, which is provided by NASA, and programs are created using JAXA's simulation environment. AstroBee is designed to help astronauts reduce the time they spend on routine tasks, leaving them time to actually focus on things that only humans can do. They work autonomously, so the robots themselves, they work autonomously or via remote control by the astronauts or by flight controllers on the ground. And the way they move around on the International Space Station is using fans. And what they do is they just use the fans to actually move the air around them. And the one everyone can see on screen is AstroBee, with astronaut Anne McLean. So there she is there, or was there with that one. So which was this one back here. Right. It would be good if I actually put on the right screen. All right. So yeah. So
and then NASA Ames, they were developed at NASA Ames. So last year we didn't realize until the competition on board, all of a sudden they were talking to NASA Ames, are you ready? And it was like, we're doing real science research.
Wow.
Right? We didn't realize, because that's what Bob said, it just gets lost in what you're doing, the other stuff. And then you realize, hang on a minute, this is really cutting edge stuff. And then to have high schools and a primary school student involved.
Yeah, exactly. Having an 11-year-old beat out university students, I think, says everything in that one. I think it really, really does. I mean, that gives you an idea exactly. If kids want to do this sort of stuff, then they can actually take on real-world challenges based in space on the International Space Station with astronauts, and you guys are facilitating that to happen. All right. There's
no charge to this course. That's this thing. And if anyone's listening from other countries that are involved, please jump in and have a go. Thailand, who else? India, Bangkok, UAE. There's a whole lot of countries involved. So check out and see if your country's involved. And if you're a person who's at uni but you haven't graduated yet, you can sign up and get your team together for next year.
And we're doing the next 2 years.
And we've just been approved last week by the Australian Space Agency. We're now the national coordinators for the next 2 years.
Oh, wow. Well done. Congratulations to you guys. That's really, really good.
That was a big deal for us.
Yeah, that is a big deal. That is a big deal. I'll go nuts and just say, yeah, that's a big deal. That's massive. Well done, you guys. All right. We're going to move on a little bit, if that's all right. So we'll move on to the next one, which is we're going to move on to the Tom Nolan Inspire Scholarship. So just give everybody a bit of a quick background on Tom. Tom Nolan was an oceanographer by trade and swapped the oceanographer by trade and swapped ocean-going ships for spaceships more than 20 years ago. So Tom joined NASA as an outreach coordinator for JPL's Earth Science Flight Projects Office in 1988 and worked as an operations engineer. In his career, he has commanded 4 instruments on multiple spacecraft and was the first person to download and see images from the Opportunity rover on Mars. In 2019, Tom was recognised for his STEM outreach work by being awarded the JPL Bruce Murray Award. Sadly and unfortunately, Tom passed away in December 2020. So, Jackie, with all the respect in the world, Why did you put together the Tom Nolan Inspire Scholarship?
Tom and I met virtually through another third party, and it was just like is the most amazing person, full of energy. As you can see, like, he's just awesome. And he loved his wombat shirt, by the way. And
I can see that.
Yeah, and so he loved doing outreach, and so we had heard. We started working on a thing, and we called it Space STEM in Your Future.
Yeah.
And Tom got a group of people together, and they all came out in their holidays, and we ran an event at Macquarie University in Sydney. And Tom was just the energy ball with it, and so him and I had some grand plans, like really grand plans for when he retired. We were going to do all these things.
Yeah.
And then Space STEM in Your Future, really the first year was testing the waters. We were training people how to use the Gavitt, the Goldstone Apple Valley Radio Telescope in California. We're training teachers to do that, to use it for free. We brought out other friends of Tom's who one of them crashed Cassini into Saturn and landed all the Mars rovers on Mars. That's Todd, the other guy lying down in the blue shirt. The back of the screen, right? Anyway, and then the following year, we had more people come out, and it was even more.
The photograph that we took in the middle of the night.
And so it was, he got all these people together. And we were also running free NASA JPL teleconferences and stuff because he'd get people to volunteer. Anyway, so they came out, and that top photo of him and Todd is in the back of a Hercules aircraft. It's a C-130J, but behind them, what you don't know, is a Mars rover that was on loan from NASA JPL in the car on that cargo pallet.
Wow.
So Tom organised for that to be on loan, and we were on 2 weeks, 2 weeks on the road with Tom and Todd and everyone, and we saw over 6,000 kids in 2 weeks. And the plane was important because One Giant Leap Australia is a foundation, so we worked with the Royal Australian Air Force, and we got tasked with an aircraft, our own aircraft, for 3 days. So we had our own aircraft.
Nice.
So that was the guys lying down in the back on a 6-hour flight to Darwin from Sydney.
Wow.
And our in-flight entertainment was chatting with each other and looking out the windows. But and we also, Bob and I reenacted our wedding in the back, but don't tell the Air Force. But anyway, so it was a lot of fun. And the wonderful thing about Tom is he just inspired everybody. He would talk to students, and he would have them totally believing that they can do anything. They could do any job in the space industry, that they could do anything. Tom gave a talk at Nhulunbuy in the high school. And honestly, if he told the kids, come on, kids, come with me, he was like the Pied Piper. They would have gotten up and run out the door with him.
Wow.
And he's telling them they're the Artemis generation and all of this. And he, amazing person, spent hours talking to him on Skype. It just turned into such a dear friend.
Yeah.
And then 1 month after he retired, he collapsed in the snow, and they found a brain tumor, and it was terminal. So he died on that, at the end of that year in New Year's Eve. And he gave his last outreach presentation to us, and we have it on our YouTube channel. And you could tell he wasn't very well, but he still had that gift of being able to talk to kids and everything. And I truly miss him. We've just done his memorial on the weekend, and the family said to me, Tom loved what you were doing in Australia. And I said to them, well, let's start they said, start a GoFundMe. And I said, well, if I do that, why are we doing that? And they said, well, for Australian students.
Yeah.
So we have the GoFundMe, and it's about trying to help kids, like not with a huge amount of money, just a little bit, help them along if they want to do a course, or there's something that they need in space STEM and we're running it. We try to give away scholarship money to them. So it truly was a sad day when Tom Nolan passed, but in his memory, we have the Tom Nolan Inspire Scholarship. Yeah.
I certainly understand, and look, I hope for people who are watching on, they're equally inspired by his unusual story. I mean, when I was looking for him and looking up images of him, the ones you see there are the ones I came up with, and he just looked like an absolute fun guy. And the thing that struck me the most was I found some information on Tom about how his career took a very unusual track, including things like he was a wilderness guide in Alaska, which seems really weird. He owned a sporting goods shop in New Mexico, and he did that for quite a number of years. And then he was a sales manager for a scuba manufacturer in California. And for you guys, I believe that as an Earth and climate scientist, Tom also worked as a STEM specialist for One Giant Leap Australia. Is that correct?
He did a whole lot of volunteer stuff for us. He was fantastic. And it was funny because I had another friend who wanted to do some short videos for a particular technology company. And that person pretty much went and talked to all the people from NASA JPL. And they're amazing people who do incredible outreach. And they're so inspirational. And the thing about them all is they can talk to anybody about their subject expertise, and everyone understands. You're not just sitting there floundering with the and, but, and the. And so it was hilarious. One minute we had them in Canberra in Parliament House talking to politicians, and the next minute we had them at Tidbinbilla getting photos under Voyager Place, because Todd, the guy in the blue shirt, he's actually working on the Voyager program. So he wanted to work at NASA JPL, and he's worked for them for 30 years because he read in a Nat Geo magazine at his grandparents' farm about Voyager. He's so honoured now to be actually working on Voyager. But Todd was in mission control at JPL when they landed Curiosity, because he's part of that team, and also Perseverance team. So he's fun to hang out with. And the pair of them both sing. And I remember we had them in a pub in Wagga, and the thing was we had to have a piano because we wanted Todd to play the piano. So there was just this old piano in this pub in the outback of nowhere in Wagga, and they were rocking the place. So they were singing Rocket Man, Elton John, and everyone was singing Hey Jude. Like, it was just crazy stuff. And so Tom just would encourage Todd even more, and then Todd's belting out these songs, and the whole pub was singing along. It was just hilarious. So what do you do with NASA JPL people when you got them on running around Australia? So yeah, great, very talented, very intelligent people, incredible people. And if it wasn't for Tom Nolan, I wouldn't know a lot of my NASA JPL friends. And so, yeah, very, very sharing, caring, big-hearted guy. And he would love it if we could give money to kids.
And so if anybody's interested, there is a scholarship program running, and I believe there will be about 20 of them to give away. And in the end, you just need to check out the One Giant Leap webpage, and plus also the GoFundMe to actually fund it. I've placed links in the bottom of this for everybody to go and have a look. So we're going to move right along, and we're going to cover next the International Spacecraft Exploration Challenge, and I've just got a small little intro video to show.
Human beings are a curious, inquisitive, exploratory species. I think that has been the secret of our success as a species.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We are the explorers. We have a need to find what is out there. It is a drive inside each and every one of us. The drive to wonder, to push the boundaries, and to explore. Right now, men and women are working on the next steps to go farther than we have ever gone before. New vessels will carry us, and new destinations await us. Everything we have ever accomplished leads to this moment in time, where exploration will now take us to the planets and the stars. Our nearest neighbors in the night sky have beckoned us, invited us, dared us to reach for them. We are the explorers. Throughout our history, we have taken both small steps and giant leaps in that pursuit.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff. Liftoff.
Okay, the International Spacecraft Exploration Challenge gives students an opportunity to participate in space exploration themselves, all virtually. As part of a mission team, students will design spacecraft, navigate to another planet, land their vehicle, build a planetary habitat, as you just saw, and explore a new planet to find resources in order to sustain human life. Students must learn from subject matter experts, including astronauts, scientists, engineers, who are directly involved with ongoing missions as they compete with other teams for the best mission design. So, Jackie, when's this being run?
We did the first ever virtual space mission in Australia. I think we were the first ones to work with Greg Chamitoff. This is something that he's been developing for a long time. The software is called Spacecraft, like Minecraft.
Oh, right.
They call it Space Teams. And this is all out of his Astro Lab at Texas A&M University.
Wow.
So it's run out of Texas. And we did the first virtual space mission in July in Australia. And we pretty much were the guinea pigs, the crash. It was hilarious. Anyway, so we had mentors from Microsoft who were awesome. And it was so funny because they're being thrown in the deep end. Like, here is your orbital mechanics mentor. and the poor person's just kind of arrived. They're like,
here's a little bit about orbital mechanics. You may not know anything, but here you go.
and the funny thing was that Todd Barber, because the orbital mechanics expert that Greg had lined up, something happened. And so he said to me, do you know anyone? I said, yeah, Todd Barber. So Todd, the guy from before in the Hercules.
Yep.
So I said, Todd. And so I said, this is what Todd's like. And Greg goes, he sounds really awesome. So Todd gave the talk on orbital mechanics, and he talked about it like he described it as galactic ballet. And so he was awesome with the kids. And he actually explains it and you understand it. So, or you think you're understanding what's going on. So it was hilarious. It was, and this one coming up is international. So we're looking for international teams to form a team of 4 from the 20th to the 25th of September. And I chose those. I suggested those dates because it was the New South Wales school holidays.
Yep.
And it's 6 days, 5 hours a day, Sydney time. And so we have,
as it turns out, sorry to interrupt, but as it turns out, that's probably the best plan you've ever come up with, because New South Wales and Sydney, Australia are actually currently in lockdown at the moment. So kids are going to be able to spare 6 hours a day.
Or 5 hours a day. And the thing is, you're a team. You can't let your teammates down. So every day, it's just amazing. For the amount of money it's just incredible. Yeah. Day one, Greg Chamatov talks to them for an hour. I mean, he spent 200 days on the space station, right? So he was the guy who put the last nut and bolt and finished off the space station. And, I mean, I've sat and talked with Greg about spacewalks in a pub, right? And people don't know because he hasn't got his white suit and all that. But for the participants, you get a full-on hour being able to just talk like this with an astronaut, right? So Greg kicks it off with the beginning. There's expert STEM presenters, so they pretty much like, gee, the kids are like, good morning, kids. Like, they have more energy than I do. And so they're the ones who go, do you know we put slime on the space station? And they do all this stuff that get all the kids all excited. Then Greg does his talk. By then you're just in this frenzy of, I just can't wait to do this stuff. And day one is planet building. So they learn about planets, right? And they build their own planet.
Wow.
Right. And then the software allows them to fly over their planet. So if they want to have just all beaches, they can do that. But it's all the physics, but it's also all the databases from NASA and NASA JPL.
Yeah.
So you can't, it tells you what your oxygen levels are and whether you can sustain life. Like, it's real science stuff.
Wow.
It's not just like kindergarten play school. We're just going to let you build a planet, kids, out of plasticine, and that's it. This is like full on learning how to how do we have sustainable, how can we sustain life? How can we sustain other things? And then they can play around in that whole space. But they have tutorials. So there's tutorials built into it to teach them how to use the software and how to build the planet. Oh, wow. So as a team...
Sorry, I'm just going to interrupt you right there. Is this limited to kids, or can I do it? I want to do it.
I want to do it. That adults would like to do that. And the discussions are, should we do it a day a week? So we give you we do a whole day with you, and then let you go off and play on your planet for a week and submit your planet, right? So you'd be up at 3:00 in the morning going, oh, I just think I need to do that Slarty Bart thing, the fjord, Slarty Bart fast thing, the fjords around Norway, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Because he was very detailed. So
you could do Slarty Bart fast number 2, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And for anybody who doesn't know, or kids, like, look it up. But also is Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's Life, Universe, and everything. I think is one of them. Now I can't remember where he meets Slarty Bart fast, but yes, it was one of them. Yes.
He builds the planets, right?
But I want to do it. I want to.
So then, as a team, they've got to agree on what the planet is going to be like and all of that. So that's day one. Then day 2 rolls into starting to build their own spacecraft.
Yep.
right? And it's proper science. So if they go to take off, I mean, we set the challenge of who could build the biggest spaceship that could take off, because you can add as much as you want, but the software is going to say to you, this is impossible. You've got no thrusters. We can't do anything with this.
Wow.
Or, it's real science, right? Real
awesome.
rocket building stuff.
Yeah.
But then you've got to land that spacecraft on a planet. And the planet, the fictitious planet, is Vulcan. So what Greg's organised, and this is, I'm sure he's done it for this one as well, Greg Johnson, the NASA shuttle pilot, gives them an hour's lesson on how to fly a space shuttle. And then they spend an hour discussing flying spacecraft and how it's very different than just flying an airplane and stuff, right?
So you did say adults could join up, didn't you? Let's make that perfectly clear here. I can join, can't I?
When I get the adult one happening,
Oh, okay.
And so the cool thing is they have tutorials on all of this. They spend 5 hours, but they also have to have a morning tea and lunch break. But they also have their mentors. So we have people who might want a mentor, let me know. But the mentors try and help the kids. But often the mentors, I remember in the first virtual space mission we did, one of the mentors was just absolutely having such a hard time landing his spaceship. He was sending messages to Greg, like emails were going backwards and forwards between the mentor and Greg Chamatoff going, I can't land my spaceship, Greg. And Greg's going, it's a bit hard, but, this is the kind of thing that you do. So it's really funny. And he's supposed to be mentoring the kids, but I just know that he spent days at work totally distracted trying to land this spaceship. So, and then when they land, they then have to build a colony. And now remember, they're working in a team of 4.
Yep.
And this time round, they're not going to be able to pick who their teammates are, because that's how it works, right?
Yeah, of course.
On the space station,
scenario.
you gotta work with the people. Got to work with the people. So, so they have to get this colony built. So they can't just go, I'm going to put a water tank over here.
Yep.
Because the software will say, but you didn't bring any materials to build a water tank.
Right? Wow.
Okay. And then they're going to go, but I want to build a water tank. I'm going to die without the water tank. So they can go back and alter their spaceship and put the water tank materials on, but then it will say, this is too heavy, I can't take off. So then they've got to fix that up so that they actually can do the other bit. And so, it's 6 days. It's exhausting. 5 hours a day, 6 days, absolutely exhausting. And every single day having 1 hour with an absolute expert on Mars rovers, for example.
Yeah.
Our good friend Ben Morrell, who's working at NASA JPL, he went to Sydney University. He does a 1 hour talk on robotics and things like that. And then there was an expert on Mars colonies talking for an hour. So that you get to meet these experts, you do tutorials, you get mentored, you're in a team, you're doing it all from the luxury of your own home.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And just remember, for everyone following along at home, registrations are open for kids. It'll be run the 20th to 25th
You can
of
be
September
the team
2021.
manager.
Yeah, well, there's all sorts of things I'm going to volunteer for on live. We're going to be talking afterwards, Jackie. We're talking afterwards, all right?
Mentoring. You can be the team mentor,
no,
right?
I want to play.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I just
Okay,
want a reason to play, all right? Jeez. Anyway, so just keep in mind, registrations are open for kids 20 to the 25th of September 2021. Yes, there is an adult version coming. Thanks very much for that, Jackie. Get cracking and start making it. I want to play. Anyway, look, that actually brings me to my next question. So what's next for One Giant Leap? Can you give us a bit of an insight as to what's going on next?
Well, okay. On the weekend, we signed an agreement with ISS Above. So we're now the resellers in Australia and the manufacturers of the ISS Above.
Oh, what's that? Sorry.
If you don't know what this is, this is a piece of hardware that you plug in, and we had it plugged in last night. So every time the space station came anywhere near us, it told us how far away, like how many minutes. Like it flashes green, isn't it, Bob?
Green for 10 minutes.
Green for
10
every time
minutes.
it flashes green, it's 10 minutes away. So if it flashes 5 times, it's 50 minutes away.
Yep.
And then when these are LEDs, when they start running all the colours of the rainbow, it's over your house, so you can go out and have a walk. And then it also all the imagery, all like what you've got up there on the screen, that's what you're seeing rolling along on your screen. So it's a live feed from the ISS, and it's an amazing piece of hardware developed by Liam Kennedy, and he developed it for his grandson because his grandson kept saying, "But Grandpa, when's the space station going to come over?" So he made it so it flashes coloured light, so his grandson knows when it's flashing like that, he's got to count up all the 10 minutes, and then when it's the rainbowy thing, run outside and find it.
Yeah,
so
adults can buy this too, right?
Hey?
Adults can buy this too, right?
Yep.
Good. I'm gonna go broke talking to you.
It's on sale on our website.
Nice.
If you're not in Australia and you're in Europe, there's a German reseller.
Yeah.
And if you're in America, you can buy it from Liam himself.
I know I've got a few fans in India. Is there anything available for India? Is there a reseller for there?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But might want to contact. We can sell it to you, not a problem.
There you go. People are following along at home.
Yeah,
Contact
because
Jackie.
it's not American dollars; it's Australian money. And also, by us doing this, it means this product is amazing.
Yeah,
I can't understand why every school does not have one.
Yeah.
It's so easy to engage the kids with the imagery. You can see the fires in California.
Yeah.
You can see our bushfires. Like, it's real live feed, right?
Yep.
So it's amazing. And the colours are just captivating. And the thing is, I just went, you've only sold how many? 6 to the whole country?
6?
Tell me. Yeah, that's
Wow.
all. There's only that many in Australia. So we decided to work with Liam, get it out, because it's about the product. It's not about anything else. It's about getting this into schools.
Yeah, exactly.
So if we're here, we're not doing the international postage and all the rest of that stuff.
Yep.
So, but, it is amazing piece of kit. I've had one since 2016, and we use it all the time.
Wow.
Well worth the money.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's that. What else are we up to?
Just to let you know, I've got a special spot just over there on that side of my studio where I can actually put it just in line of sight. So whenever I'm doing a live cast, I'll just be going, it's about to come over. There it is.
For anyone, like, we have One Giant Leap Radio, our podcast stuff,
Yep.
right? And I had Liam, I noticed on his Twitter feed, he was talking about the telemetry of the space station being a bit weird. And that was when the Russian module was attached and then the thrusters went off.
Right.
Because he knows everything about the space station, what's coming. Like, he's just a mad expert on this, right? So if you think about train spotters, well, he's the ISS spotter. He's amazing, right? So anyway, he was noticing things were not right. That he was getting code that didn't seem right.
Yep.
So, and remember, he doesn't work for them. He's just an enthusiast. So he's looking at the downlink stuff and thinking, this isn't making sense. And then he worked out pretty quickly there was something going on. So then I saw from his Twitter feed that he thought something was going on. Wow. So then we got him to talk about what he saw. Yep. And then what happened was we ended up with a whole lot of flight directors listening to our podcast, because it was a lot of information that they hadn't even known, because it was coming down to the public downlink. And so he had, so we got Liam to have a chat. So on our One Giant Leap Radio, we've got ISS Above Liam talking about that. And then and we asked him to teleconference into schools last week. And then we've asked him to do a monthly catch up on the ISS for us. So it's just hilarious. Like,
and it's all being done by someone who's an amateur, who's, that's amazing.
It's all public knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why this is amazing, because it's Liam's knowledge and all the information that's public in this box.
Yeah.
So you're not running around searching. So yeah, and he's wonderful, really another wonderful person. So we have a lot going on apart from the Wattle stuff. we've got projects. We've got a project coming up in January for teachers to do some work with us in the Space Foundation.
Oh, nice.
And then Bob's been doing some 3D printing. We showed you.
Yeah, you did earlier. This was before I went live, people. Before I got the screens wrong.
Jezero crater stuff.
Wow.
So this is our 3D printed Jezero crater, so we can talk to kids about why we landed here. And then today, Bob's been printing off a wing. He's going to do some work on wings and some lightweight 3D printing stuff. And hopefully he'll get back to finishing off our Mars rover. He's been building with NASA JPL GitHub stuff. That operates on a PS2 controller.
I'm going to be talking to you later, Bob. Just let you know, I want to talk to you later when you get some of this done. Yeah, you're in trouble now. This is live stream. You're going to commit to this, aren't you?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's all right. It's all right for Bob to hide over here, but Bob's been flying remote control planes since he was 7, and
wow.
And so,
dude,
you know, we run our own model aircraft field, and he does drones, and there's a whole lot of other stuff we do apart from the space stuff. But you know, we do have. I can't even think what other projects we've got coming up.
That's all right. Look,
we're working with a number of unis. We've got someone doing some genome sequencing of the wattle seeds. We're talking to India about a program growing some holy basil. We're talking with Singapore about doing something and some training with them. And we're also been talking to the UAE, and we were going to do some stuff at the Dubai Expo. So that still could be on the cards with linking up teachers from Australia with teachers from the UAE and doing space STEM stuff and then putting it on display at the expo in Dubai. So that's kind of some of the things that we've been dabbling around with in our spare time. Yeah.
Okay. Look, I'm just going to put it out there for everybody, just to let them know that over here that the questions and answer session has come along. So if everybody wants to ask some questions, now's the chance. So just to let everybody know, I'm just going to be scrolling back through a lot of the stuff that's here. That doesn't say there's lots of hello from India. There we go.
Yay! I love
Interstellar.
it.
G'day, Lonely Interstellar. Good to see you here. Then there's Jane, Jane Blaymyers. I apologize, Jane, if I said that wrong. Water sculpture actually does sound like a really good idea. And that was her comment. Then we've got foam esky, very Aussie. Yes, it is, isn't it? It's just one of those unique things. And then we've got a little bit of a sad loss about Tom. Which is why I tried to just make sure that, you know, we had something nice and positive to end on. Yes, and there is also expressions of interest from other people, especially Jane, who said, look, awesome, adult, everything would be great. So there you go. There's your justification to do anything in the adult range. So the ISS Above, the space teams,
Yeah, I'm totally on board with the adult thing. Like, we run a space for a day for kids where we build different Mars rovers out of stuff. We design our own programs because I don't want kids to come to me or anyone to come to me and go, yeah, I've already done this. Or, you know, they look at what you're using and they go, I've done it, but we might be doing something different. But they just look at it like I've done it. So I do this space for a day thing, and often it's the mums all complaining that they wanted to build a Mars rover and how come their kid has all the fun. So I'm going to run some.
You've heard this problem before, then.
Yeah. So I've decided we're going to have a Mars rover and wine night or something like that.
Nice.
And can you imagine?
Yep, I can.
All the husbands will be, or the other partners will be going like, "Hang on a minute. Where's mine?"
Mars rover and wine night. That's awesome.
It's my wonky Mars rover because I've had a few. But you know, and the other thing, I've got 70 rocket kits in my lounge room because we're going to run a rocket day where we have families or people who want to actually do it. And so we're going to launch 70 rockets off a park in the military no-fly zone, which will be fun. I do have approval, so that's okay. I have approval to do it. So look at your face. I have 210 engines and 70 rocket kits.
Look, I need to get that on camera. I need to get that on camera and put it on a YouTube video for everyone to see. You need to invite me. You need to make sure I'm coming along. So listen to me just inviting myself there.
Like, imagine the slow-mo takeoff. And
I can actually.
Really cool.
I've got 4K cameras and everything behind me here, so I think it's over on this side. Yeah, so yeah.
Funny thing is, they're all going to have the one rocket kit, but they're all going to go, mine's better than yours. It's just going to be like hilarious. Mine's red, so I can go fast. I can just hear it all now. Yeah. And I planned a whole rocket day, starting with just stomp rockets and then water bottle rockets, then Estes rockets and stuff. And so we have been approached by some people in the States to run an international rocketry thing. And I've got to point out, I am friends. I don't know if you know Homer Hickam. No. He wrote his movie is October Sky. The book is Rocket Boys. Homer. Homer. Yeah, and Homer lived in a mining town. You've seen the story, right?
Yeah,
I didn't know anything about Homer, and I happened to go to space camp, and I met Homer. Now I have 3 of Homer's signed autograph books to me, and Homer and I are great mates on Facebook. So one day Homer says, I'm coming to Australia to do rocket launching. Do you want to come and hang out with me? Now, there's a rocket range called the Homer Hickam Rocket Range in Space Camp. And I had to decline because I had an important government meeting on, and everyone was like, are you serious?
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, serious? I know, but it was sad. But Homer's a great mate. So he tries to occasionally sell me a cat from the cat orphanage in Alabama, but, doesn't kind of work because I can't afford to get a cat out here. So, there's heaps going on, just absolutely always heaps. And that's how we like it. We like to do fully immersive, fun stuff.
And we're bored.
And Bob goes, Bob says, we're bored. I don't
clearly you're not bored, Bob. We have to have a chat about this. And we'll do this, Nick. We'll do this on a separate live stream. You and I will actually talk properly. Anyway, all right. So I think what we might do is we might. There don't seem to be any more questions here. Oh, look, Lonely Interstellar wants to come out and fly rockets with us from India. So Lonely Interstellar, mate, you need to set up one yourself, I think.
Yeah. And honestly, I've got to tell you, with India, I love India. I have a friend of mine who I call my Indian son. I rescued him, and he slept on my lounge for 2 years, and I rescued him from sleeping on the streets and whatever. And I went to his wedding in India in the village, and I just loved it. I love India. So our thing with India, we've got a couple of things going on. So I'll keep you informed. And if we end up over there, let's all come and hang out.
Yeah, I'd say that's a good idea, all COVID permitting and all that sort of stuff. Well, look, thanks very much, Jackie, from One Giant Leap for joining me here on the Space Down Under Live. If you'd like to know more about One Giant Leap Australia is up to, I've placed links in the description below. If you'd like to put some money towards what they're doing, please contribute to Tom Nolan Inspire Scholarship on GoFundMe. I might get rid of that music. It's a bit loud. On GoFundMe. If you're looking to make a large contribution, then please get directly in touch with Jackie via the One Giant Leap Foundation website or via One Giant Leap Australia. Just remember, guys, if you like this live stream, please remember to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just as a reminder, liking and subscribing lets YouTube know to share my channel with more people so they can learn more about the space down under. And that's the reason why I do it. So, all right, once again, Jackie, thanks very much for joining me on the Space Down Under. And for everyone else, remember, stay caffeinated.
I don't know what it's going to do.